What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
And we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family without further ado. Let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
This is one of the first free black towns in the Americas, San Basilio de Palenque, Colombia. Listen to the drums, explore the murals, and study the dancing. It was founded around 1603 by self-liberated Africans who escaped from the slave ports of Cartagena, Colombia. Spanish colonizers relentlessly tried to destroy this town, but centuries later, it's still standing. And this is the only black president Colombia has had. They purposely erased him from history books. Government officials even sent his official presidential portrait to Paris to whiten his appearance. You may not have expected to find stories like these in Latin America. See, the dominant narrative is that racism doesn't exist in the region, just class issues. And I'm here to tell you that is a lie.
Pero es que no hay negros en la Argentina.
It's a very convenient cop-out for Latin America and for Latinos, Latinas to say, well, it's not as bad as the U.S., and they're right. It's worse.
This is a story about Latin America's long and brutal history of erasing and silencing black populations and its ploy to whiten society.
Y'all know how y'all just hear something that like really mess up your whole mood? Just hearing that man say that there's no black people in Argentina, and then the people right there, like that really...
That's a slap in the face. No, it's the one when they took the portrait to get whitewashed.
Oh.
That is hard.
You know what
like,
that...
What the what?
Yeah, you know what that made me think of? That made me think of something I was reading up on Louisiana history. About how if they had like the quadroons, it's the whole category of if you was an 8 of black or 12 for black, all of those things, right? They could send a letter to like places like France, but I think it was Spain. I don't know. I've been getting a lot of things mixed up. But to certify that they are white, the people could do that.
I heard about that.
It's like from the beginning.
I heard about that.
Because being black is so bad, you know, in society, that they had to do things like that. That they had to survive like that.
That's a problem. That is a big problem.
Yes, but we don't hear a lot about Latin American issues, so I'm excited to get into this video.
As I am as well. I want to see what is, like how everything played. Of course, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously, being that it was one of the first black towns in the Americas to thrive, and they tried to get rid of it, and they still standing.
Here's the thing. Anti-blackness is so deeply ingrained in the Latin American region that it's often ignored or defended. Like in the case of Dominican baseball player Sammy Sosa, who downplayed using a bleaching cream that whitened his skin. From Peruvian newspapers using 159 different racist adjectives to describe African-descended people, to terms of endearment like mi negrita, which actually stem from the idea of people as property, to blackface, used as a form of entertainment. It's all part of a slew of everyday racism. There is plenty of evidence showing that racism is rampant in Latin America, but many Latin Americans have evaded accountability by treating racism as solely a U.S. problem. Unlike the U.S., where racism was upheld by legal separation like Jim Crow laws,
You're not a Texan if you're not for segregation.
Countries including Colombia, Mexico, and Brazil encouraged the mixing of different racial types, known in Spanish as mestizaje. As a result, this ideology of mixing has been used for centuries to deny the presence of black and indigenous people throughout the region.
This idea that everyone is mixed also has been completely overblown because Latin America is not unique in its mixedness. But that has been the mantle that it has taken upon itself, so that you can evade accountability. How can we be racist if we're all mixed? Well, you certainly found very many ways to be.
Meet
They
Dash
ain't like that.
Harris
They
Machado.
What's so
She's
funny is that they had that happening there, but it was happening here too, and they didn't like that idea in the long run because
Yeah.
it came back and bite them in the butt.
Ours, okay, so in Louisiana, y'all know we were not on, the territory was owned by the French, Spanish, and the Americans, right? So with our Creole went through similar things, and I hate even talking about it because it's just
Yeah.
such a. I'm gonna get off of it, but there was a similar history there. If you do want to go and research with the Creoles and how they survived, we survived,
Yeah.
you know. So but we did talk about this with Brazil on
We
the
did.
mixing, because
And we were shocked about Brazil because they
Yeah.
was so, I want to say correctly, they wasn't as connected to the history, education wise.
yeah, some of
You know
them
what
was
I'm saying?
finding
They
out
was
for the first time that they were black.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like they, yeah.
Yeah, that's how it went.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's eye opening to
Yeah.
see what other people go through.
But that just goes to show you that if you have you know what, let's just get to it.
Iranian American and the producer of Negro, a docuseries about Latino identity.
We all know those sayings. You're treating me like a black person. Trabajar como un negro. Working like a black person. Don't marry a black person. Come on. Be serious again. And everybody knows these sayings. This is from.
And that
That's
is
some crazy
crazy
saying. That's a
because
lot.
here, you know, the thing is, black people are lazy. Like I just never understood how could black people, you know, we relate a lot of things to us a lot, but how do black people build a country and then years later, centuries later, get called lazy? I would want to be lazy after building the country. What?
It's time to rest.
For real.
Oh, bro, this is crazy. But history has its way of doing these type of things because when
Right.
you look over history, it's like lazy where, you know, it's like how
Lazy
is that
where?
even possible? You know,
Where
it don't
where
make
in the
sense.
world are black people lazy?
Yeah.
Where?
This is every single last country. Like, stop playing with us. Stop playing in our faces.
Okay, girl.
To understand how deep anti-blackness runs in the region, let's go back a couple of centuries, starting with the wars of independence from Spain for the region now known as Latin America. Meet Simón Bolívar. He's considered the great liberator of Latin America.
This is the Great Liberator. So this is how a lot of our texts would look in our history books. We'll always get pictures like this. Somebody with a flag, a whole bunch of men, the cannon in the picture, horses, men on the white horses. This was like a very significant picture that we would always see when we flip the page.
Mm-hmm.
But he
What's
was-
our favorite saying? I haven't said it in a long time. Tales of the Hunt. Dang it.
I think it was like until the lions have something to do with lions.
Until the lions have their historians, Tales of the Hunt shall always glorify the hunter.
Something like that.
I
That
think.
sound right.
I think.
That sound right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have liberated anything if it wasn't for the help of Haiti, where a rebellion by enslaved Africans created the only free republic in Latin America and the Caribbean at the time. Haitian President Alexandre Pétion agreed to help Bolivar on his quest for liberation under one condition.
What's
If
that?
Bolivar won, he had to abolish slavery and the new republic he was fighting for. Bolivar agreed, and a few years later, he defeated Spain throughout South America
Wow.
and declared himself president of present-day Colombia, Venezuela, Panama, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. Around 60% of soldiers who fought for Bolivar were black, but Bolivar
Not
betrayed
surprised.
them. His
Oh.
promise to completely abolish slavery was a lie. He even complained that black soldiers were audacious to want absolute equality. They had to
Wow.
wait 40 years after the war to gain their freedom. Bolivar and many other white elites feared that they would eventually be outnumbered by black and indigenous people. So he maintained Latin America's colonial, racial, and class hierarchy to keep control among the white elites. Bolivar believed in liberation, but only for some.
Whites will not give up anything to black people, or in general, unless it benefits them more. We're talking about a definite racial and social stratification that was the foundation of the region and in which the region still adheres to. Nothing has changed.
Anti-blackness was baked into the foundation of the region, but that anti-blackness didn't stop with Bolivar. See, the emancipation of slavery was a threat to the social hierarchy in Latin America, so white elites came up with a plan to systemically, physically, and culturally wipe out black people. How did the region do it? Mass white European immigration, while banning the immigration of non-whites. Welcome to the Blancamiento
History always repeats itself, don't it? Okay.
Emblancamiento period, which literally mean to whiten. The goal was for future generations to no longer have visibly black and indigenous people, so that the national identities in these new nations would be associated with whiteness. In this period, elites aimed to make black people disappear through their gradual absorption into the white race. Over 10...
I don't know if y'all understood what that meant, but I heard that loud and clear. Yeah, just let that kind of soak in for a minute.
Our Brazilian supporters gave us a name for this, and it's not the name that she used earlier. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it was a name. So y'all let us know. I don't know. It had a lot of people under the comment section that was just sharing their family histories with it.
Right.
Million European immigrants settled in Latin America between 1880 and 1930, with 90% of them going to Argentina, Uruguay, Cuba, and Brazil. Brazil even went as far as to pay for transportation costs from Europe and passed a law making European immigrants automatic citizens as soon as they arrived. European immigrants were given preference over black people in jobs, housing, and education, and the impacts of this are still felt today.
That's sad, bro. At the end of the day, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
it
All
sounds
of our
real familiar.
histories, huh?
Yeah, it sounds like sounds really familiar.
Yeah, some
Like-
things
like-
sound familiar right now.
Right now, familiar.
Right, scary times, huh?
No, at all. No.
Dang it, I was gonna say something. I lost it.
Today, over 78% of Afro-Brazilians live below the poverty line. There have been many attempts to resist the relentless oppression of black people in Latin America. In Brazil, the Unified Black Movement has challenged racial and class discrimination since the 70s. And in Colombia, Francia Marquez has led the battle for Afro-Colombian land rights since she was 15. She gave a voice to people who didn't feel represented by the white elites who ruled Colombia for centuries.
15.
And in 2022,
Started at 15.
she was elected Colombia's first black vice president.
Después de 214
What?
años,
Man,
logramos
that
un
makes me wanna
gobierno
cry.
del pueblo. El gobierno de los nadies y las
That
nadies
makes me
de
want to cry.
Colombia.
OMG. That is a blessing.
So the policies aimed at erasing black people from society failed. But they successfully created many obstacles that prevented Afro-descendants from accessing land, education, and the labor market. And that's why you can't talk about the current conditions of black people in Latin America without acknowledging the centuries of discrimination, racism, and oppression.
Literally. Because people always want to say things like, oh, that's in the past, don't worry about that. If you keep talking about the past, you're going to stay there. The things that's happening now is because of the past.
Right.
Because it has not been eradicated. It's just been, y'all just toss dirt over it and a flower bloom. But the flower isn't blooming because of the goodness of the governments, right? The people created that. The people push for that progress, right? Like we see things that progress that has been made in our country, and now it's being threatened, right? Now it's not even threatened. Like we ain't even gonna go there. We're gonna stay right here. History is just, you cannot understand people today unless you truly understand their history. And no matter how many times you think you fully understand something, there's always going to be something else that makes it a little bit clear, like, oh, I thought I knew, but now all of this is coming up. Like when you look at things like schools, in the United States. Schools, neighborhoods, health insurance, not even health insurance. The reason we don't have universal health insurance, everything boils down to the history of the races.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like everybody has a different story behind how they was treated and misplaced and this, that, and the third. But for me, it's like digging a hole and then you hit inside of the information. It's like there's really nothing much more that you can say. I feel like how she's expressing everything within this timeline of the story is just like it's just too familiar to dive into it to try to tell more of what it is that she really saying. I feel like if you're listening, I don't know. It's like today's times and everything that's going on. It's like wow. Like you're kind of shocked at the same time because it's like,
but then you're not.
The older you get, it's like you're thinking that dang, people was really messed up.
Right.
Like they went ahead and tried to whitewash the race. They tried to.
At the end of the day, it shows you how everybody is interconnected, and it's not just the Americas. Let's talk about the motherland, Africa, the colonial powers. Like it's just all connected. And that's so scary. That's 2025. 2025, we're still dealing with the effects of something that happened over 400 years ago. That's.
I mean, yeah, it's up to people to see it though.
Right.
Some people want to look away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to be accountable. They don't want to be. Some people don't even want to be representation.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's like when you really sit back and you look at what's happening today, it's like, yeah, it's very truthful.
Right.
A lot of stuff in plain sight.
But it makes me question, like, will our great-great-grandchildren be going through the things that we go through today?
Well, I hope not, but only time can tell. And if you really want to be truthful, the way things are looking right now is like a lot of stuff is kind of put and halted. Things are being taken away and stripped.
Well, that's here. That's here.
Yeah, full circle moment. I mean, you got to self-reflect as well, so type stuff, but.
In order for anti-blackness to be dismantled, people have to give up power.
Our power needs to be seized. Because we're talking about lived and material conditions when we're talking about anti-blackness. It's not just simply someone not liking me because they're anti-black. We're talking about systems that decide people's life and if you will even have a life.
This means it's not just about acknowledging and celebrating Black people's contributions in Latin America during festivals or national holidays, but about reparations and setting up systems that actually benefit Black communities.
It's about repair and transformation, and it cannot be up to the same people who benefit from my subjugation.
Despite these challenges, Black people throughout Latin America continue to fight for equality. And just like San Basilio de Palenque, Black communities are still standing.
Nah, real talk. Black people need to always fight, man, no matter what it is. Because at the end of the day, I feel like Black people just need to continuously thrive, bro. We have been put underneath so many hardships, and people really thought and believed that we would never flourish or come out the soil again, and we just continuously thrive. So at the end of the day, I just feel like they just need to continuously push and keep making noise, keep talking about the topic, let the topic be the message. I mean, that's the only thing you could do, because if people don't get the message, then they go day by day thinking that everything is okay, and there's a problem. I just think people need to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I find hope in the fact that no matter what a ship dropped us off at, we all are still here. That
100%.
Right there is power. We're still
100%.
here.
Yep.
No matter what our ancestors went through, no matter what we are going through today, wherever we are, whether it's the United States, somewhere in the Caribbean, Brazil, wherever we are still here, and we as a people have never laid down, and that right there gives me hope
all the time.
All right, y'all. Continue to send in videos of Latin America. We would love to learn more about your histories, your people, and your culture. It don't always have to be the bad parts of our history. We can talk about the good things. We can talk about the culture, the food, celebrate the people. All right? So we hope you guys enjoy this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.